Class is in session. I'm Professor Blowers. Let's learn how to edit videos. Let's go ahead and click on the Learn tab. That's right next to the light bulb here and under the Home tab. Here, you'll find hands-on tutorials that give us step-by-step instructions inside of Premiere. Let's have a look at some of the tutorials here on the web. We'll start by clicking here, Create a project and import a clip. This will open up the tutorial on the web. Click just once, and here's the site. This site includes all of the files and all of the videos you need to do this project. First, click on Get Project. That'll download a zipped folder to your computer. Once it's completed, click on the zip folder, expand the window, and notice up at the top, we still need to extract it. Click on Compress Folder Tools, then Extract All, then extract one more time to unzip or extract that folder. That'll open up this folder right here. Make sure it's full screen. If you click on Downloads, you'll notice the difference between one that has a zipper on it and one is unzipped or uncompressed. So double click in here, then double click twice, and to create project and import media, here you'll find the Premiere Pro project. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, and Step 4. Each of these steps corresponds with a video on the web page that you just clicked on. So let's drag this off to the right, let go, and then we'll click on the tutorial to split the screen. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So step number 1 is associated with this first video, create a project. Step number 2 works with the second video, which is a workspace overview. Step number 3, the instructions are on this third video with the kids playing soccer. That's how you import media. Step number 4 will teach you how to build a sequence, and here's the Premiere Pro project right there. All right, excellent. Now we're sorted. So let's scroll back up to the top. We'll check out the first video. That'll tell us what to do with the file. So let's double click here on step number 1 to open up the project in Adobe Premiere. So here we are. You're welcome to click OK right here. That's cool. I'm super excited. So now we have the split screen. We can follow along with the video while making the edits in Premiere. What I need you to do is skip ahead to the 43-second mark. I saved you a bit of time on this one. So let's go back to the video right here. You'll notice you still have the Learn tab open. You can click on Window, Workspaces, and then go to Editing, which is where I usually do my editing, and that's how you change your workspace. Awesome. Then at the bottom, what I want you to do is switch over to List View. You're going to notice these media files right here, and if you drop this caret down, you'll see music, video files, and some other associated files. Now press Alt-Tab, go back into the folder, and you're gonna notice this is where the media files are. I see a lot of MP4s in here, I see an MP3 here, that's an audio file, as well as a WAV file, which is also an audio file. So it looks like we have 11 videos and 2 audio files. Awesome. Let's go back into Premiere. So starting at the 43-second mark, press play, and the video is going to tell you what to do to edit the files. So we can learn Premiere by following along step by step with the video and making changes to our own Premiere file. Here we are in Premiere Pro. This is it. This is our project. Here in our sequence, we have a number of clips lined up. Perfect. Right up here is our program monitor. The program monitor shows us the master sequence and gives us visuals from this sequence of clips. If you press the tilde key, which is to the left of the 1 and under escape, press tilde to make that full screen. By pressing the space bar, that will play our sequence. Excellent. Press tilde one more time so you can see all of Premiere, and we can see all 4 quadrants. Let's go down to the timeline, press the tilde key, and that'll make the timeline full screen. Now this right here, that's called your playhead. If you click and drag on your playhead, that's called scrubbing. Press the tilde key one more time, click on the playhead, and drag it to the right, and let's see what scrubbing does. Let's scrub using Adobe Premiere Pro. Before we get started, I want to show you 2 quick shortcuts. The first one, go ahead and press C. That's going to cut your clip. you'll notice a razor right here. Press C, hover over one of the clips, and then click it. That's going to cut the clip in two, or slice it. If you then press V, select, and then hover over the clip that you want to select, it'll then select that clip. So often, I'm at the bottom of my keyboard, pressing C to cut, V to select, spacebar to play, and you can click and drag around to rearrange your clips and move them around, and that's the foundation of video editing. But let's say I don't like what I did. That looks terrible. What do I press? That's right, Control Z. You can press Control Z as many times as necessary to go back to where you started in order to kind of clean up your project. Let's check out another panel. Now on the bottom left, we're going to find the project panel. Every panel has the name at the top left-hand corner, and this is showing us the contents of our project. That looks like a folder. In Premiere, it's called a bin, and inside of this bin are going to be our clips. Now if you double-click one of the clips, it'll open up in the source monitor. And then from within the source monitor, again, let's press the tilde key again to make it larger, and the clip starts right here. You can click and drag around, or, here's another tip, press I. That's an in marker. O is the out marker, so let's actually click right here, press I to add an in marker, then let's click out this away, press O, and we'll add an out marker. So now we've learned C for cut, V for select, I for in, and O for out. So in the top left, that's our source monitor. It's used for previewing the videos and deciding maybe, do I put this in the sequence, do I not? It allows us to preview. Over on the right here, that's our program monitor, and that's specifically for our sequence. Let's go ahead and go to the File menu, and we're going to close the project. There's really not a whole lot to save. We didn't make many changes, but up at the top right here, you're going to see an asterisk. That's pretty handy. You can also see the location of the project if you're on a Windows machine. So this is saved on our C drive or our system drive. That asterisk up there tells us some sort of change has happened. So it's your choice if you want to save this or not. I'm not too worried about it. I'm just learning Premiere. No need to save this. So we're back. We're on the start screen. So let's click on File, New, Project, and this is how you create a new project from within Premiere. Awesome. So let's call this First Project, for instance. And if you click on Browse, you can choose the location for the project and search the files. You can move it later on, but I'm going to keep my files from within the folder that I just unzipped for organizational purposes. Awesome. And now we've got an empty Premiere Pro project. The first thing you want to do is to get some media into the project. So how are we going to do that? You've got it. Let's go to the media browser. The media browser allows us to look around our computer or external hard drive to track down the clips that we need for this project. It's pretty handy. So let's have a look around, look into our media files folder, and let's jump into footage. This is where all of the files are located. There they are. And if you move the mouse around, scroll up and down, you'll notice all of the video clips that are associated with this file. So here, to select all of these clips, go ahead and press Control A, so all of those clips are selected. We want all of them. If you right-click on any of these clips and then press Import, that'll import them right here. Now we have a list of all of the clips or pieces of video that we'll be using for the project. If you double-click on any of these, it'll preview it here in the source monitor for you to decide whether or not to use them, mark them in or out, and then drag them into your sequence. Are you ready to get started reviewing our footage and editing our first video? I'm ready. Let's do this together. For now, let's go ahead and click on File and let's close it down. We just learned how to open an existing project and importing media into a blank project. Thank you for saving that, and we're on to the next video. For step number 2 in video 2, press Alt and then Tab. Let's go back to the folder and let's go back again, and we're actually going to double click on step number 2 here. Perfect. Press OK, no problem, we're cool. Let's roll up our sleeves. Looks like all of the files are in here. We're going to click and put our playhead here, click and drag to scrub, press Alt Tab. Let's go back to the video, scroll down. We're going to learn the workspace overview. press play on the second video and follow the instructions right here. We need to learn the key interface design elements. This will make it easier to export everything and to learn new features. The first thing we're going to do is make sure that we are in the editing workspace. So go to Window, Workspaces, and these are just preset layouts for Adobe Premiere. It'll change how things look for you, and depending on how you are as an editor, you can shift these around and make it noticeable so you can see that we've made changes to the editing layout. All right, now let's say I don't like this and you want to go back, we'll figure that out. Now up here you can change your workspace. You've got audio, editing, effects, captions, all sorts of cool things up here. So this will help you change your interface or layout. But let's say I made some changes, I didn't like it, click on the menu, and right here you can reset to saved layout to go back to the drawing board. That'll put things back to scratch. Well, we're talking about panels, and I want you to have a look at this blue highlight outline right here. Currently, the timeline panel is active. That's where you build the sequences, add clips, make movies in Premiere, right? So when you click over to the bottom left on the project panel, you can see that the project panel is active. And depending on the active panel, you're going to have different menu options, and things will work a little bit differently in all 4 of your main panels. So you need to know which panel is active, and that's when you check that box. That blue outline box will tell you which panel we have active. And each panel has a name at the top of it, so here you can see the project panels open. Next to the name, you'll find a panel menu, right? And each one is specific to the panel under which we're working. This is the panel menu, and that'll give us options that are specific to that panel. And it's really important to be clear what kind of menu you're looking at, depending on which panel you're in. Now notice here on the timeline, there's a wrench right here. That's a different set of settings. In both cases, you'll see options related to that specific panel. So that's why it's important to know what's been selected, right? Now you'll notice these are called tabs. This is the media browser tab. Here you'll find all sorts of different tabs. There's effects. Now you can also right click, let's right click on one of the clips in the sequence, and that's going to give us all sorts of creative options that are specific to that clip. Cool, right? I guess selection is pretty important in Premiere, right? I'm getting options specific to that clip, and whatever I apply is going to be specific to this clip right here, right? Every one of these panels is listed up here in the window menu, so if you're wondering, where is it? Click on window and then scroll down, and this menu should help you find home if you're lost. Sometimes you'll see a menu, but it's hidden. So if you can't see it and you have it selected, you can go to Window and then select it and it'll appear. But for now, let's go ahead and close the project because that's an overview of all of the key design elements in Premiere. Sweet. All right, let's go ahead and press Alt-Tab and we'll go back and we're gonna open up step number 3. Perfect. Double click right here, open up step 3, press OK. Excellent. I think you know what to do at this point. Let's wander back to our webpage, scroll down. Here we are, that's our 3rd video. We're gonna learn how to import media. Go ahead and press play, get started with this, go back to Premiere, and follow along. Let's work on step number 3 and learn how to import media. Awesome. Here we are in the media browser panel, and we're looking around for our videos. On the left, you have access to all of the videos on your computer or hard drive, and on the right, you can see the contents of the folder we've selected. So let's look around and see if we can find the footage that we've unzipped. Let's go ahead and check out our media files. If you double-click one of these videos, it'll open in the source monitor. From the source monitor up here, you can press spacebar to play, and this is our playhead right here. That's that blue thing, and you can drag it to different sections. That's called scrubbing. You don't have to necessarily click and drag. You can just hover your mouse over the timeline right there, and you can just click and click where you want it to go, and it'll jump to that. Kind of like verse jumping. So let's click on the first one. We're going to select 6 of these videos. So click the first one, scroll down, hold Shift and click the 6th clip. Perfect. Then right click on any one of these files and we're going to click Import. Then they'll appear in our project panel. Importing a clip will create a master clip in Premiere. A master clip is a shortcut to the media. So if you just click on the background of the project panel, it'll deselect it. Perfect. Now you'll notice that I'm in the list view. I can also go to the icon view. You can see information about the frame rate, the name of the file, how long the file is. That's pretty handy. Now you tell me if you prefer icon view or list view. Icon view allows you to preview it, which I think is more helpful in this case. When they switched to nonlinear editing, the term bin switched to Premiere. Similar how when you cut a clip refers to when they actually physically cut clips from videos, a bin is a traditional term from video editing. Now we can create a new bin, you can put bins in bins. I named my bin Guatemala, and a bin ultimately is like a folder, right? Now there's a shortcut to doing this as well. So if we select 3 of these clips, for example, so click, hold Shift, and click the 3rd one, let's drag these 3 clips onto that same new bin button right here, and now these clips have been put into a new bin. And I'm going to call this Guatemala bin 2, for example. Now, I made a mistake. If you made a mistake, I go to Window, Workspaces, Reset to Saved Layout, and here I am. This is where we came from. And now, here's where we put a bin within a bin. So, select both bins, and select both of those bins, drag it to the new bin button here. Now here I am, here's the main media folder. These are the files. We're going to mess around a little bit, and we're going to rename it. We're going to change the name of media files. So now that we've changed the name to Media Files Different, right away Premiere says what happened to these clips. I don't know where they are. Well, interesting. That's a common error. Now all you gotta do, if you double click down here, boom, Premiere found the media. Double click again, just like that, Premiere found the media. Just like that. There we are. That's how you solve that issue. All you have to do is tell Premiere where the files have gone or what the name of the new folder is called, and it'll link to it. Perfect. Now if you've really moved them to a new location, Premiere might say, where did you put these clips? Well, if that happens, you can just browse to the first clip that's missing, and Premiere Pro is going to find the rest, if they're in a batch, for example. Now let's say if you right-click on one of these clips and click on Review and Explore, that's another way to tell you where that clip has ran off to. There it is right there. Lost? Found. Now if I click on the name of the clip right here, perfect, and if you rename it, let's go ahead and call this Trees and click away to apply the name, then we'll go back to the media. Would you look at that? Now the clips inside of Premiere Pro are really just links to the video files. They're not the actual video files themselves. So renaming it right here doesn't actually change the name of the file on your computer. Alright, so that's the 3rd video, that's the 3rd step. Let's jump ahead, we're on to the 4th one, y'all. This time, let's open up step 4 from within Premiere Pro. So go ahead and click on File, Open Project, and we're going to look for where we left the project. So navigate to our downloads, look for the unzipped folder, and then click on step number 4. And you'll notice all the ones that have been saved. But let's roll up our sleeves and get to work on the last step. Press OK, and here is step 4. Here's our project. Press Alt-Tab. Let's go back to the browser, and we'll scroll down. We'll go to the 4th video. Press play on the 4th video. Follow along as we learn how to build a sequence. Clips in the project panel can be added to the sequence, which is really a container, and that's how we edit our videos. Clips added to the sequence are organized into a series of items, which will play one after the other, and that really is the core of our video project. So this is a simple project. We just have 3 clips. All right, well, let's switch over to the icon view so we can see the contents of the clips. The clips are already imported. You don't have to worry about that. All we need to do is drag and drop, and that'll create the sequence. So let's make a marquee selection and lasso these 3 clips so that all 3 are selected, and then click and drag over to the timeline panel, release, and perfect. It's going to be dropped in the release that we selected them. Time goes from left to right, and up there's our playhead. I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to drag up so you can see the thumbnail of the clips. This here in the timeline panel is called the track header. Remember, track header in the timeline panels. Up here, there's some numbers. That is the passage of time. And if you click on those numbers, you'll see the blue playhead right here, and it'll move to where you've clicked. Awesome. The playhead tells you the frame in which you'll be looking at right here. You can play the contents of the sequence by either clicking the play button right here or pressing spacebar. And we've already started, and oh, nice block. All right, he tried to kick that ball. So I'm gonna click back to the first clip, press spacebar. Notice how it transitions to the second clip. You can also drag the playhead across the sequence in a process called scrubbing. You got it, scrubbing. Here we are scrubbing from Tikal to the soccer game, Tikal to the soccer game. Now you'll also notice the sequence is over here in the project panel. It has the same name as the first clip selected, and that is your sequence. It's green, not blue. Interesting. It's got a different icon as well. Let's have a bigger look right here. I see 1, 2, 3 clips and 1 sequence right here. Do you see the difference here in the bottom right corner? If you go to list view, you can also see the icons a bit more clearly. So switch over to list view and you see 3 clips and 1 sequence. Let's go ahead and rename it. So if you click it just once inside right here, we can rename the sequence, and I'm naming it. Let's go ahead and name this first sequence, because it is your first sequence. Call it whatever you like though, it's your choice. Now, you can actually combine sequences and open up more sequences, but first, let me draw your attention to the timeline panel right over here. Interesting. Now look at these lines that are dividing sections of the timeline panel. These are called tracks. So you have video tracks on top and audio tracks on the bottom. And you can click and drag around on different tracks for different creative things like layers. You've got V1, V2, V3. Those are the 3 video tracks. You've got A1, A2, and A3. These are the 3 audio tracks. That's awesome. Right down here, you can increase the size of your timeline so you can make more precise edits. Awesome. Now, video tracks play one above the other, and they're linked generally to the audio. We can learn to unlink these, but we'll take care of that in a future video. Now, let's Control Z. Mistake, mistake, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Everything's back to normal. Whew. Now, if you want to delete one of these clips, go ahead and click it, press the delete key, and that'll get rid of that. If you don't want to delete it, Control Z, and it'll come right back into your timeline. If you hold Shift plus Delete, then what that'll do is sandwich the 2 clips together. It'll take the 3rd clip and snap it to the first one. Perfect. So let's take this clip again, let's drag it back onto the timeline, and boom, it snapped. It literally will snap, and you can kind of feel it if you're using your computer. This will snap to the end of that 2nd clip right here. Perfect. That's how you arrange your clips in the sequence. Now, another way to create a new sequence is to select a number of clips in the project panel here, hold Shift to select all 3 of these clips, and then what we'll do, let's right-click, and then we're going to choose New Sequence from Clip, right here. And it really has the same effect as dragging it, but it's always helpful to learn a different way of doing something, right? There's our new sequence right here. There's the new sequence right here in the project panel. That's how you build a sequence and remove clips in Adobe Premiere. That's awesome. When you're finished with this, go ahead and select your timeline, click into your timeline, click Control A, and then click Control M on your keyboard. Control M is export. That'll take up this screen. And that tells us we're about done. Awesome. Call it whatever you'd like. I'm going to call mine Final Version for Upload. All right. You have different presets. You have different file formats. We'll save ours as H.264. There's all sorts of different settings right down here, but we're gonna export the clip, and we press export just once more. Patience while we encode, and then voila! We have a file on our computer that's been exported, and we just exported our project. Go ahead and upload that file for credit, and just like that, if you want to go home, click the Home tab. You can go back to the Learn tab, scroll down, and here's the next project. We can learn more about panels by exploring Premiere Pro panels. Click here to download the files. Don't forget to extract or unzip the files, and you can get started learning the next episode of Adobe Premiere and learning how to edit videos and make movies. So, without any further ado, class is dismissed. I'm Professor Blowers. That was an introduction to Adobe Premiere. I hope you're learning a lot. Keep editing videos, keep making movies. I just edited my first video. A video production. Oh, out of here.